Yep, we're good.
Okay, we're all good. So, good morning. I'm glad you're here for class. The MyKW is our normal website to go into. It has your toolbox that's called eEdge in it. And so we're going to go for a tour for as long as it takes. If you have questions along the way, by all means, ask them. I start by letting you know you're going to log into your MyKW with www.mykw.kw.com. So it's mykw.kw.com. Your login is one that was given to you when you first came into the Market Center. So whatever that is, make sure you write it down and save it. Your password originally when you come in is capital W for the word welcome, 1. You can change that by going to the technology tab and go down to change password. I recommend if you change it, make sure you write it down, because 9 times out of 10 people come into my office and don't know their login and passcode. That's a problem. We can't do anything. I can't help you with anything if we can't log in. So, pretty critical piece. Your welcome new associates is the first place that I would go as a brand new agent. It will give you an opportunity to kind of do a tour of our KW, what's supposed to happen in your first 100 days. There are, underneath technology, there's a technology for KW set up, and it actually looks like this. So it's got video clips that have been pulled for your benefit under your MyKW, under the KW Connect section. I'm going to show you where that is. But the KW Connect are video clips that tell you all the little intricacies of our business and all the parts to the puzzle. So making sure that you go there and watch those video clips in downtime in the evening is a really great way to get yourself up and running quickly. So that technology piece is pretty important. It also has Get Support. It's got Launch Your Market Center. So that's leadership. But the agents over on the middle section for marketing, it'll kind of give you a tour of those kinds of things. How to download a KW logo. Good piece for you to know. Again, there's leadership. There's additional resources over on the right-hand side, as you can see. There's media resources. So if you want to blog, if you want to interact on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, getting involved in those things, obviously making sure you know what your login and passcode are for those, because it's going to ask you when you fill out some of the forms. More education, we're going to go through that in a minute. And so that kind of gives you a feel for what's happening in your first 100 days in the business. Lots more to investigate in that section, but we're not going to go there today. That's kind of advanced. It's different parts of the business, luxury, ranch, farms, those types of things. So, education, as I mentioned, KW Connect has a tremendous amount of education in there, and your KW Connect is here under education. And you can see that if you look at the knowledge base that's in there, it has a whole list of things that you could watch about any facet of the business you want to learn about. And so this is a great backup plan for you to be able to look at additional trainings. If you sit in on a training, you may find you have questions, and watching any of the clips in here may answer some of them. There's another full set of leadership portion and another section for all associates. So you can see there's a wealth of knowledge there for you to be able to plug into, and that's available 24/7. The next area I want to point out is the Keller Williams University, which are college-type courses. We're going to be teaching Ignite. You see Ignite's the first one on the list. And with Ignite, it is an 18-session, every part to the business type class. And we'll be teaching that over a 2-week period. So watch the calendar. There's April calendars out already. You definitely want to put that on your schedule to the best of your ability. Everything that you can attend, please attend. We're going to have top-notch teachers, so you want to make sure you plug into each and every one of them if you can. Under lead generation, we're going to teach 36-12-3 second after the Ignite, which is an advanced part of the class. That's another 13 sessions of all the little steps. I guess it's 12 hours, 12 2-hour sessions. And so important for you to plug into both of them. I'm going to show you a tool that I'd like to have you use pretty much from the very beginning of your business. And that is, if you go down to Living Your Goals, first you go to Lead Generation 36-12-3, go to the Toolkit, go down to Living Your Goals in Power Session 11, and then there's a Business Plan tab. If you click on the Business Plan tab, it will bring up an Excel spreadsheet that it has the availability for you to, I'm going to open it just so that you can see what it looks like. The first page is for the year that it is. And you can see that across here there's different labelings. Your economic model is going to help you design what your business could look like with 3 hours of lead generation a day. And this is set up for 36 transactions, 50% of your business being listings, 50% being sales. And it actually goes through how many listing appointments you will need for the year, how many listing appointments you will need to take per month, what your conversion rate is, how many you actually take out of the 34.6 appointments. They figure with an 80% conversion rate, you're at 27.7 listings, which is 2.3 a month. They expect that 65% of them will close, so that's 18 transactions. And if they were at $250,000 a piece at an average sales commission of $7,000, if you fit into all of this model exactly, there's the potential of having a GCI, $270,000 a year at $22,500 a month. That's 36 transactions a year. Pretty good year. Anybody okay with that? Good year. And so obviously this number is the critical piece. So if you change that number, which this is a liquid form, so that you can change that number, you can change the amount of the average sale price, you can change the things that are in red. So if you had a better conversion rate than 80, if you had a better close ratio on listing versus closed listings versus open listings, each one of those things that are in red can be changed. And so you could actually plan your business ahead of time, which is what we encourage you to do. So this is your business, so you have all the models put in place. But as you see, if I change this number from 36 to 24 and push the tab button, it automatically recalculates down here at the bottom. It's 150 at $15,000 or 180 at $15,000 a month. Am I in your way? Okay. And so basically you want to make sure that you understand that you could use this to plan your business. The next portion is lead generation model. Now, what the stats are that we know are, if you have a database and you consistently communicate with it, which is what we call a 33 touch program, and what we'd like to call it is a perfect 33 touch program, which means you're going to actually talk to them at least once a quarter, and you're going to have 33 touches throughout the year. And they figure for every 12 people in your Met database, those are people that you know, people that you're familiar with that know you, if you communicate with them on a perfect 33 touch, they say for after 18 months, you could expect for every 12 you talk to, two will give you a lead. And with a database of 1,920 people, you could realize 300 transactions a year. That's huge. And so building your database is a key piece. And if you're not talking to your database on a pretty regular basis, it's an issue. We need to be in communication with everyone that we know and asking for referrals for everyone that they know. Because we know that you know at least 100 people, and every one of the people that you touch knows at least 100 people. So you could significantly change your business from one year to the next just by consistently calling and asking for referrals, building your database on a regular basis. And so if you begin, your current number in your database is 100 people, and you need to ramp it up, you need to add 4 people every week to your database in order for you to continue to grow your database at the level we'd like to help you grow it. And then there's haven't mets. Interesting, the ratio for the mets, for every 12 people that you talk to, you have 2 potential leads. With the haven't mets, for every 50 people you talk to, you potentially will have 1 lead. Pretty significant difference. So we encourage you to talk to your database regularly. So the next section is the budget model, and it actually talks about what your budget should look like. And this is talking when you're at a level where you have an admin, so you can remove the salary. And if your lead generation is you picking up the phone on a regular basis and talking to them, and that budget may not need to be that high, monthly budget of $13.80, obviously. This is ramping up your business in a tremendous level. So as you can see though, I changed in the first page, there were 36 transactions, and I changed it to 24. It moved it to this as well. It's going to carry through the whole model, all of the parts to the puzzle. So you can see using this will help you create a strategy. This is what I need to do. This is how I need to move forward. Where am I going to use my budget numbers in order to actually get to the level I want to be? And then it pulls all the numbers together at the end. So for a net income before taxes of just under $100,000, and again, the cost of sales is not going to be that high because you don't have personal assistants at this point, or buyer's agents or anything like that. So you can see this is something you can almost take to the bank. So building that model is really important for you. And I think I shut the other one down because I'm going to do this. Don't save. I did, instead of putting it to sleep. So you can see it was in KW University. 3612.3, toolbox, business plan, and then download the business plan. Very important piece. So this is where your education tab is. There's a level for coaching tab, so that as you cap, we'll encourage you to go into a coaching program through MAPS. It's a fabulous program, and so all of us have coaches. We encourage you to have coaches. As a business owner, I can tell you, coaching will take your business to the next level. Your marketing pieces are in here. I'm not going to go into all of them today. Your technology, your e-edge resources are here. And so again, you can see that there's a technology setup checklist for e-edge. Know that if you, on your smartphone, log into your mykw.kw.com, I apologize, it's supposed to be on silent. So your technology setup piece is here. e-edge on the go, that was what I was going to say, is as you log into your smartphone or your iPad or any kind of device like that, you have what's called e-edge on the go, which is a smaller site. It's your e-edge so that you could log into all your names, all your email, your website, anything to do with your business. And so it turns into, as you log into mykw.kw.com on your phone, on the internet, it will come up as e-edge on the go. And so it has your e-edge dashboard already set up so that you can use it when you're out and about. So we're going to go through, go back to the next technology piece that I want you to be aware of is your mobile app. If you have not installed your mobile app, you're going to go to that tab.
I'm good. How are you doing?
Love the internet, isn't it wonderful? Wait for it.
Yeah, well, I am really slow, really expedient, but it's too big to, rush and regret choices and, so, but we definitely want to do it. I know they need it done. I just don't think we all need to put that pressure on ourselves. It's like, yeah, that's just on the part.
There we go. So you're going to go down to where it says click for your personal branded app. You're going to go into the mobile search section. If you're just brand new in the business, this is going to say none. And if you drop down to the Northville and save it, it will auto-populate your own app code. The reason why I like this app code, and for your benefit, you're going to share it with as many people as you possibly can, because it is the most accurate app that there is. And what I mean by that is, how many of you have a Trulia app, or a Zillow app, or a Realtor.com app? All of those have things fed to them, but they don't have expired, sold, endings fed to them as well. Only the multiple listing service has that, and it's fed to our app. So our app is going to be much more accurate for your clients to do their searching on. So you're just doing the drop down Northville and save it, and check down below and save that, and you're set start giving that code away, and people can find you on the app. Where you are in the United States, it will work. That's pretty cool. So when I'm in Arizona next week, or the end of the week, I'm going to be looking at real estate. So kind of interesting. Everywhere I go, I look. And so people have a tendency to look on those kind of search engines. So if they want to use something that's more accurate, that would be yours. So that's how I introduce it to my clients, and they love it that way.
I do appreciate it.
Again, that's where you change your passcode, your password for eEdge. eEdge requires a capital letter on the first letter going in. So if someone forgets their code, 9 times out of 10 it's because they didn't capitalize the first letter. You've got additional resources here. You've got a 411 tool. You hear us talk about 411s, and also events. As different events are happening, all of the details, the hotels, all of that is all in here. Who's going to be speaking? Now, the next section we're going to talk about, first of all, I'm going to take you to the intranet, which is where our calendar is. So right below the view documents, it's right below there. Anything that's underlined will let you take it there. So obviously, that's going to take you to the calendar. That's where it feeds from when it comes out to you every morning. That's where it's pulling it from. So this calendar will allow you to actually click on today's date, for instance. It will open up the calendar larger and let you see what's going on. We're working on getting it so that all of the description is down here as to what would have been included in the class. There are also additional resources here. There's documents here. One of the documents I'd like to make sure you know are there are there's an Excel spreadsheet in here for you to do a seller's net out sheet. There's technology eEdge training. We had a master municipalities, which I need to remove because it's not up to date. But we recently added city inspection requirements. That one is more up to date. So that's the one you're going to plug into. If you went to the 90 listings in 90 days seminar, the scripts that they promised to share are right here. So 2 sets of scripts that are in our back office that are documents. This is an old expired listing script as well. That was part of the 90 in 90 days. Explanations, you can reserve the conference rooms if you're going to have a closing. You can reserve a conference room right online. So pretty simple. And then showing instructions when you set a listing up. This has information about how to set that up. Although you can go on realtor.com and set it up there as well. Any questions so far? Okay, so we're going to go into the next section, which is your eEdge database. So you're going to again go in from View Contacts.
I came to the Dotloop, which was on there.
Oh, it's right behind it.
What?
It's right behind this. As soon as I'm done with
okay,
this.
I thought you were.
No, it's.
A lot of times it's not what it says it is, and I thought.
No, it's actually 1 to 3 because it's longer.
Yeah, I mean, it just says 1 o'clock Dotloop, so.
Right.
Okay.
So this is your dashboard. So as you see, it has a number of tabs across the top. This will actually also open in your eEdge on the go on your smartphones, tablets. One of the key things that they taught me at Dotloop class that I went to recently is if you're finding that you're having trouble with any segments of the MyKW website or the Dotloop and transactions, make sure that the browser that you're using is always up to date. The best browser for you to use is Chrome. We have less glitches, but as he explained in the class, is if you use a Mac, you might use a different browser. So whatever browser you are using, you always want to make sure they're the most up-to-date, so make sure you do the updates for your browsers. As you can see, there's an admin tab, so you've got your account information is in here. It's all set up, and anything that you do in eEdge for marketing materials, which is here, like your 33 touch, once you've entered your information into this section, your My Account section, and it's complete and it's accurate, it will auto-populate to all of our marketing materials, which is a great time saver. And so you want to make sure that this is all the accurate information that you'd like put on your documentation. So as you send anything out, it will actually auto-populate with all that information on it. Your contact information all goes here. You can set them up in groups. You can import them, export them. So you've got the availability to individually put them in, and they've added some more fields recently so that if you want to put in birthdays and those types of things, anniversaries, purchase anniversaries, anything you want to add to this, you've got the availability to do. You can make notes. So if you're talking to them on the phone and they say, well, I'm not interested in selling right now, but we definitely are going to move next year. This is the plan. You can put that note in, and then you can set yourself a reminder right here to call them back in that window of time. So this is your go-to place every single day. Your marketing materials are in here, like I mentioned. You can actually view them, see what's available in the campaign. It gives you a scenario right here, 12 email steps and 1 activity step. So that's 12 times. That's the intervals, and then you can actually see what's in the campaign. You can look at each one of those and see if that's something you want to set up for your client. Just a way to be in front of them is the plan. So you want to give them something of value so they open it up. And you want to check by adding yourself to the campaign. You want to make sure you know what's going out when, so that if you're going to pick up the phone and say, did you realize that whatever one of these, let's see, what is this? So, brighten your home with vinegar. So if you're talking to them on the phone, did you get that the other day? I never realized I could use vinegar for that. And they're laughing because they remember seeing it. And it's just another way to connect with them. So keep that in mind so that if you're in the campaign, you know, number one, when it goes out. You can look at all of the different types of campaigns, the date intervals that it's going out, and what the collections look like. So if you're sending things out to your sphere, you're going to be in a 33 touch more than likely, and it's going to give you a number of different styles. As you saw, we have a robust email campaign, so if you wanted to send a flyer, if you listed something, you can actually put that flyer in that section. and send it to your whole database to make them aware of what's going on. Your website is here as well. And so this will allow you, if you go down to the main text and then go to view your home page, it will allow you to look and see what others are seeing when they go to your home page. So this is actually all set up so that they can see it. This should have an IDX code on it. If it doesn't, definitely talk to me about that so that we can get that corrected. You have a number of templates so you can change it. I like to change mine up every once in a while so that it doesn't always look the same. And so it gives you that opportunity to make those changes. So we're going to transition to, I'm going to go back to my KW, and we're going to transition to transactions. So this is our Dotloop system. When you go in, you'll either have a plus button. If you have a plus button, it will have this drop down, and you go to transaction home. That's how you always go in. Sometimes new people have new transactions, and you have to click on the one that's underlined if you don't have a plus sign yet. I'm not sure the difference between the two, but it is what it is. So as we click transaction home, this is the screen you should see. Again, if your screen does not look like this, we have a problem. If it's blue, we have a problem. Come see me, we'll get it fixed. I just want to make sure that you're up and running as quickly as possible, and so that's very important for us to be sure that when you open your Dotloop, that's what you have, is a red and black screen. You've got a couple of choices. You can look at it like this, or you can look at it in a line-by-line item. So it would be that kind of a plan instead. I like this one. It actually pulls the things that you've used the most recently to the top in most cases. One of the things you want to be aware of is you have some tabs up here. This takes you to the dashboard. This takes you to the loops as well. So if you're somewhere and you're lost in Dotloop land, you can always go up to the top corner and go where you need to go. It has tasks, so it will actually show you what those tasks are that are still need to be taken care of. It has people that are in your Dotloop, and it also has templates. So as a professional, as we get busier and busier and busier in the summer, what I'm going to suggest that you do is set up your own set of documents that are pre-filled, like listing documents, like selling documents, because a lot of them, you can pre-fill a lot of the areas and have them already done, and you could save them and then rename them once they're in the loop. The way you add a folder is in this section, add folder. So you can start to add your own set of documents. So for instance, I have a set of documents that are here that are a full set of documents. They're the identical documents that are here with agency, yes. So they're identical to there, except they're pre-filled out to the best of my ability so that I'm not having to do that part. So if I decided that I wanted to add that to one of the loops, I could. And so just know that that option is available for you, and you'll get to that by going to the template button up here in the corner. So we're going to go back to home. How do I get there? Probably there. That's the dashboard. Nope, it's not. Oops, there we go. So as you're beginning, you're going to start a loop by adding the plus sign, and it's going to let you name the loop. Now, in my opinion, you want to name the loop with the street name first, not the numbers, because as you have hundreds or even thousands of loops in the transaction management section, you're going to it will be easier for you to find your loops if they're alphabetically in there. So we always start the loops with the name first. Okay, so what do I want to name this one? Right way. 2468. That's the address. So we're going to create the loop. So we have a right way loop. The first thing I want you to do when you go into loops is you're going to edit details. And so we're going to go down to where the address is and put in 2468 right way. And we're going to make sure that's in Novi, Michigan. And we're going to put in a zip code. Okay, now know that if it is a property that's multi-listed, which most of the time it is, and it's another real estate company that's Keller Williams, if you put the MLS number in here, you may find a loop already and you can collaborate with another agent. So if it's their listing and it's your sale on it, that can all be in the same loop. And you don't have to actually be with them or get approval from them to do that. As long as you're naming it the same, it will show up. You can also put in a parcel ID number, and there's an area if you want to go down farther to put in a legal description. So the reason why I even bring that up is because when I'm doing property, when I'm doing an offer on a property, I would rather have MLS opened to the PRD section, which is the property records information, which is going to be the most accurate legal description that there is, not from the listing somebody else did. Because if somebody else typed something wrong, transposed numbers, something is not accurate there, you're going to be buying the wrong property. I've seen that happen. It's an ugly situation. It costs a lot of money to get it straightened out, so I don't want to be that person. So if you want to add your legal description right here, right off the bat, to write an offer, you could do that. And it would then auto-populate to the documents that are asking for a legal description. This section has to be filled out anyway, so the more you can fill it out going in, that may be a big plus. So anytime you're in the edit details section and you make a change, you're going to go to save for it to take you back to the loop. So then you're going to click back to the loop and you're back where you were. Are you caught up, Jay?
I'm thinking of my screen, man. I missed that part where you said that that section where you're supposed to put the legal description in and then it populates to every.
Okay, so if we go to edit details, we'll go there again for a second. You're going to put the address in correctly in this section, in the property address. And then as you go down here, you'll see there's geographical information. Legal description goes here. Okay. You'll eventually need all of this information filled in, so you could be doing it along the way. So everybody clear? Any other questions about this section? Okay. So we're going to go back to the loop. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to actually rename the folders. So, see, this one actually has folder on here. So we're going to rename this one. Go over here and put listing docs. I want you to think of this as just like a folder in a drawer. If you had a file folder for a particular property and you had listing docs, you had selling docs, and you had closing docs, more than likely, if you're organized, you would have them all separated in separate folders, yes? Say yes, class.
Yes.
Good, okay. So, we're gonna do the exact same thing here. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I missed. How do you get back out of here again? Oh, I'm seeing, never mind, I see it. I
Back
see
to
it.
loops.
Yeah, I was looking at the wrong spot, I got you.
Okay. So we're always going here at that same level across, straight across from listing docs to begin our plan. So if we wanted to rename that, we're going to rename it, highlight it, change it, and then click return, and it will lock that thing back red, that name. And then we're going to add another folder, because all transactions have 3 parts. This one's going to say selling docs. Push return and it locks the name in again. We're going to add a 3rd folder, and that one's going to be called closing docs. So hopefully every listing that you put on the market is going to get to a closing table. So we're preparing for that from the very beginning. Make sense? Okay, so now we're going to add documents, and we get a couple of choices. This is already open, so if I go to add documents here, you see it will actually be in a different place than where it is right now. So if I click, it closes the other 2 folders. So again, we want to keep our folders separate. So when you're adding documents to a folder, you want to make sure you're in the right folder to do that. So initially speaking, when we add documents, we're going to go to the templates. Now, if you plan templates ahead of time that were all pre-filled, you could choose your own. We talked about scheduling, setting up a folder to be able to do that. Were you here when we talked about that?
No, but I believe you and I went over it last time we met.
Right. And so, as you see, I have a set of listing documents right here that are partially filled out until I have a property. So I could use that if I chose to. Or I can go into listing package, click on listing package. It auto-populates all the documents that you must have in order for this transaction to be in compliance with our office rules. So you want to make sure you select all, add those documents to the loop, and they're going to show up below the listing docs when it goes back.
So I'm sorry, you said that you could auto-populate like?
A lot of, like, we'll go in here and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So for instance, if I go in, exclusive right to sell, this is into one of the documents. So if I'm going to be the listing broker, I can auto-populate that section. And I could have already done it on my own set, so it wouldn't be a step that I'd have to do here. Obviously, I couldn't assign sellers because they're going to be all different sellers. But all of the information that's here, thank you. I could have filled this out, for instance, this Keller Williams. So that and the address and everything could have already been filled out. I can't put the date in, so that wouldn't be auto-populated. I can't put in how long they're going to grant me time. But you can see that it auto-populated where this property is because we put it in the edit detail section. But perfect example is 6% would be in here, so that could have already been in there. 180 days is how long after the termination of the lease that if anybody comes back and wants to buy, I'm protected for that window. That would be something that happens regularly. 50% would be something that actually happens regularly. 50% if somebody walked away from a transaction and the seller was going to keep the earnest money deposit. Our policy is we'd split it 50-50 with them. 3% to the other side, I'm always given 3%, so I could have that in there. It's 3% of whatever the number is that we developed. So you can see there's quite a bit that could be set up. I'm always going to put a lockbox on. 9 times out of 10, I'm going to work with sellers who are citizens, and this could already be signed. So if I had that all completely set up, all I'd have to enter is just the particular information to that particular transaction. Okay, so we're always going to save when we're done filling out a document, and then we're going to go back. And no, we're not going to share it because we would ordinarily, in most circumstances, you're taking listing documents with you to meet with a client. Yes.
How do you do with DocuSign, where they can actually sign?
Okay, let me go back to where I was. So because I'm logged into this program, my name shows up. There's a sign now, adopt and sign, and I'm done. Now, for your clients, if there was a client in my drop-down, now I could add a seller. I would put their name, first name, last name, and their email address. Each person has to have a separate email address. So if there's a husband and wife, she's logging into her email account for the authenticity that it's her. And that's what she will get, is the availability to do that drop down where it says sign here.
Right.
Her signature will look just like mine with her name.
Right.
But that's how that happens from the other side. Make sense? Okay. So save, and we're going back. So each one of those documents we're going to look through, and as we're doing that, it's going to count up how many places that each one of them need to sign. So when I go to share that document, right now, it's not going to say anybody needs to sign it,
Right.
because I didn't put a seller in there.
Right.
Now, when you start a transaction, you can actually go down here and add the people to the transaction that you want. So you could add your purchasers, give them a role, make sure you use their legal names, not their nicknames. If you put nicknames in here, you got a problem if you try to buy bank-owned properties. And so you're always, anytime you're putting names into your e-edge account, you want to put in a full name, not a nickname, because it will draw from there if you've already got them in there. So, very important. And then you're going to give them roles as to what they're going to be, and then in the drop-down, they'll show up. So then you assign them a role, and it'll tell them, when you're all done with listing documents, there might be 17 places that they need to either sign or initial. It will tell them all them, and it won't let them skip any. It says, no, you have a couple more. No, you have a couple more. Or it says, click and I'm done. And if they say I'm done and they didn't sign everywhere, it'll take them back to where they need to sign. So it's really very simple. And so they're actually in the drop down. So each one of these documents need to be filled out separately. And then once you have a document filled out, and you say, well, I'm going to have to take these documents with me because my clients aren't coming in to sign it. I'm going to list the house. I haven't even met them yet. I'm taking all the listing documents, all the comp documents. and I'm going to meet them at their house. So even though we're paperless, we go to download. It generates a tamper-proof seal, and now all of a sudden we have this at the bottom. And it will allow us to go print, and it will print it. Now, you always want to download it. You don't want to go to the print, because if you go to the print, it will cut it off. It wants a complete document, so in order to do that. So then I would just print this. It's got 2 pages. Print that and take the whole set of documents with me. Now, the frustrating part about that is that you have all of these outside documents at this point, and you have a set of documents that are not signed, right? You took them all with you. So now you have the availability after the fact to archive each one of these. Won't let me do it right now because it's confused. But it has a drop down for archiving. Let's see if they'll let me do this one. Nope. Let me archive it from here. Yes. Okay, so I would select all and archive. So all of those documents are going away, including the listing package. So we don't, including the listing doc folder, which isn't really what we wanted. So we'll pretend we didn't have one of those there. So you only want to check the ones that you want archived, and then you can archive them. Now, what you now have, though, is outside documents. Let's see if I can get that back. All right. So when you've got them signed, you're going to scan them, and if I click on this, you'll see that there's a couple of choices. So when you have an outside document, we're going to go to computer, because you scanned it to yourself. What the usual process is you're going to scan all of the documents in at one of the computers upstairs, or one of the printers upstairs, or your own. Scan it to yourself, it will go to your email. You're going to save the attachment to your desktop and then upload it from your desktop. So here's a perfect example. If I go in here, let's see if I can find any documents that are in here. All right, well, doesn't matter. So this particular property is a PDF. It would be a PDF when you scan it. And if I click open, it will show up here in my folder. So that was my listing folder, all of your closing, or all of your signed docs, and I rename it so that I know what I uploaded. So I would put signed listing docs for Right Way. Is that clear? Same way with selling docs. Most of the time they're going to be outside documents. And so let me go to so let me show you on this when it's an outside document. Add documents. Oops. Add documents. from the computer. And then I'm going to so if I wanted to add the disclosures, open, and they show up here now. But they're an outside document. So an outside document has to be handled a little bit different because it now does not recognize the tools of filling it out and signatures and all of that. So this page is an outside document that's been signed from elsewhere. And so if something got changed on a purchase agreement, for example, you would scan it in and then you'd need to add a signature. So if I'm actually saying, all right, I need to add a signature to this document somewhere for somebody to re-sign or initial, it would have dropped it there. I don't want it on here because this isn't one of my accurate. You can add a text box, so you're moving the text box wherever you want. So if there were adjustments you needed to make, or if you needed initials, it will actually let you move initials. And you need to put them wherever. So if there are changes made on a document, on a purchase agreement, for instance, price, closing date, how long the inspection's going to be, all of those tools can be brought in by having it as an outside. You can have a checkbox. You can strike through things with the tool. So you can see you have a number of tools that you can use to a document that comes from outside. So in all cases, you're going to download seller's disclosure in lead-based paint. If you're going to have your clients e-sign, you can send that, but it's actually coming from this part of it. Does that make sense? And so, for instance, let me see if I can find one that I can show you. Documents from my computer. So I'm going to go to an email and pull a document so I can show you what I'm talking about. Hopefully that didn't shut that. Okay, so you've got an email, it's got scanned in, here's an email that needs to be signed. So I'm gonna save it as, no, I'm actually just gonna move it to my desktop. So now we're going to close that back down. Close this. And where did that other go? And shut it again. Huh? There we go. Okay. So, you see it's right here, the Mason offer. Well, no, not. Okay, let me close this for a second. Put it in the right place. So if we go back to the loops and we find Mason, and I'm going to upload selling docs on Mason, I'm going to pull them from the computer. Go back to desktop. And now there's a Mason offer. So it shows up here, but now in order for them to be able to sign it, you see if I click on this, this is now an outside document, it's not an inside document. And so any changes that were made, any changes that get made on this now have to be in an outside document. They've signed it, the sellers have signed it, my clients need to sign it. So it can actually add a signature. So I'm going to assign the field to the client, add another one. Assign the field to the other client. And now I can actually save and share. And it, as you can see, this is now going to go to my client for them to finally bottom line this document. So when it goes to them, they each have to log into their own emails. And when I share it, they're going to sign it and send it back. So there's your answer there. See how it's assigned a specific field?
Yep.
So there's only one place for them to sign. Now it's waiting for them. So if I go back to the loop, it will show waiting on others. And then once they send it back, it automatically goes in here. It'll send you an email, or it'll send me an email when it came back. And then you know that it's back in the system.
Is Keller Williams the only company that uses it?
No.
I would say, so it's like, there's a possibility we could be talking with or dealing with, let's say, a Century 21 or a Remax agent in the same system.
Yes, and it's a good question to ask them and say, how do you sign docs? When you meet with them or when you talk with them? Because a lot of them will tell you this is not something they want to learn. So you'll need to download your docs, save them to your desktop, and include them in an email. It's kind of a pain in the neck, but some of them won't play nice in the sandbox. So when you're all done and you've completed your documentation and you know all of your paperwork is fine, back here. And you are set to do, you're going to go to edit details. When you're doing a listing, you're turning this in right away for a review at the office. So when you're setting up a listing and you're filling out all the docs and you get them all signed, you're turning them in, the sooner the better. Two things will happen. The system will know that you have a listing. Number two, your name will go up on the board in the hallway out there that you have a listing on the books. If you don't turn it in, they don't know. They're not going into 240 loops every day to see if you have a new listing. And so you're going to submit the listing for review by clicking this. Once you click a listing for review, as long as it comes back that you're in compliance, all your documents are filled out, all of it's signed where it needed to be signed, dates are where they needed to be on, and then it's approved and you're waiting for something else to happen with that transaction. Offer. With a sale, you are actually turning in your sale paperwork for review and you're doing the green sheet at the same time. So what I want to make sure you understand is that if you're filling this out, you're going in to fill out all of the details in here. So you're filling out all the address information that you know, the county that it's in, the MLS, the property ID, the financials about the transaction. So whatever the sale price was, whatever the total commission rate was. If you're the buy side, it's half of that, whatever the listing ticket said. How much the earnest money was, who was holding it, the date of the contract, the date of the closing. So all of this needs to be filled out. After you've got it filled out, you're getting to the bottom, you're going to save it, and then you're going to a green sheet. Click on a green sheet. The green sheet tells the office, the front desk, who's getting paid and for what. So the last 4 of your social goes here. The contract date will auto-populate to this if you filled it out in edit details. So a lot of this will be auto-populated. Buyer, there's a number of choices. So if you're a buy side or if you're on the list side, so if you're listing sold, that's what you're choosing. If you were both sides, that would be what you choose. So the buy side is clicked right now. If it's a lease, you're picking lease. If it's any other kind of property, it's property. Property type, residential or resale. If it's a brand new home, you're putting that in. This tells them what they need to be aware of for the closing. The MLS number should populate from the green sheet, but you can see it populated what I did put in there. The red boxes are absolutely critical, and so if it's not bank owned, REO, VA, HUD, short sale, you're going to put none in here. It has to have something in there. So either NA or none, or if it's HUD, you're going to put HUD.
Will it let you save it? I'm sorry to interrupt you. Will it let you save it if you don't have the pink fields filled in or no?
It will let you save it.
It will.
But if you turn it in without those fields fit,
Yeah, no, I know. I didn't know
most
if
of the time it gives you a list of what you didn't do.
Okay, I didn't know if it would prompt you to.
Well, I'm not going to fill it out and let's see.
Okay.
In fact, I probably shouldn't turn this in at all. It will really confuse them. But next section, it's going to want a sale price.
I'm looking at the part, it says about, it's not just asking for the, you know what, never mind, that's something different. Go ahead, sorry. I was looking at something else.
Are you in the green sheet?
No, I wasn't. I was there, then I had a question and I moved to something else, but go ahead. I'm gonna talk to you in a minute.
Okay. So if we're holding the earnest money deposit, you're putting that here. However much you're holding, or we're holding, the sale price, the percentage, you're always going to pick a percentage and then it's going to ask you how much. If the listing ticket says that they're only offering you 2, put 2 in here. Admin is $295, $50 if it's a lease. You only have to put in your buyer's last name. Only have to put in the seller's last name. But the agent detail is you. So if we're going through this, what role did you play? You're an individual agent if you're not on a team, period. So an individual agent would be picked. And then the next one is asking, it's a sale. If it was an inside sale, like it was one of our listings, that would be an inside sale. This, if you were the buyer, and then it's going to want 1 because that's 1 unit as the buyer. If you are the buyer and the listing agent, that's 2 units.
Do those abstracts communicate with?
Yes.
Okay.
So if I put in here dual, it would then open a different section. This would actually then be 2 units because you were working on both sides. So think about the side of your transaction as one side. 2 sides in every transaction. These you don't have to fill out unless there's an outside referral. Where is the admin? Admin has to be added, $295. You must fill these out. It either needs to be a 0 or something you're going to contribute to KW Cares. So each one of them have to have a 0 or money. Now, if you did a transaction with Agent B, if they're inside the Keller Williams system, they're going on here. If they're an outside referral, what is the referral percentage? So if it was 25%, you'd put that there. And that 25% would auto-populate to the other side if I had given it a commission dollar. So if it was I didn't do that page, I guess I should do that page so that you can see how that works. Yeah, I know. Let me go back there. So if I do $200,000 and it's a percentage and you're getting 3% and you have an admin of $295, this doesn't auto-populate to that one, so that's why it's a problem. Next section, next section. So you see it populated dollars. So it took the $3,000 off. So it'll calculate those for you. If you partnered with somebody in the office, your name would go here. So I have some listings that I co-list with. So if it's 50-50, we're splitting it 50-50, that would show up here. Make sense? Outside referral information's going here so that they can send it to the right place. The co-broker information, you must fill out these license numbers. The listing ticket will have the full listing ticket on the listing side will have both of those numbers, the agent ID and the office ID. If you misplace that, you can look up the agent's name on Realcom, right under the search button. It's down at the bottom. So, but that's where you're going to find that piece of information. If it was a split closing, that means if two different title companies were handling the business, if the listing side had one and the buyer side, who had a lender, had the other side, there would be two different companies that would show up at the closing to put everything together. That's called a split closing. So if First Centennial takes care of the listing side and somebody else brings in an offer, their title company is probably going to handle their buy side. If you know this information, you can fill that out. And then the last section is notes. So you could actually say, everything's signed, the inspection went well, we're waiting on the appraisal, should close April 30th. And you can submit to the MCA and see if I submit this to the MCA and submit a green sheet, hopefully it's going to give me a whole laundry list of stuff I didn't do. So, it's going to tell me where I missed it and in what section it is. Okay? And then once you get a submit to MCA and it doesn't do that, it will say partially accepted. They'll review all your documents, they'll review this, and if no questions and everything's fine, they'll say fully accepted. And then when you close, all you have to do is come in. You're going to scan in all the closing documents into your loop, and you're going to only turn in the check that you brought back from the closing table. And if you're here before noon and turn it in and this has already been approved, you're getting paid the same day. If it's in the afternoon, you'll probably get paid the next day. So as long as you follow the rules and get all your documentation in, you get a paycheck very quickly. And my goal is for you guys to all be in compliance at all times. So if you've got questions when you get ready to fill one out, by all means call me. We'll make sure we get you into compliance. Because you need to get paid as soon as you're done. Okay, so I'm going to delete this because I really don't want to submit a green sheet. Because otherwise they'll be saying, what'd you sell? Where? What? All right, so active transactions. So any questions? Oh, you guys have all your answers? How we doing, Bruce?
Okay, I guess.
Do you have questions?
No, I probably will when I try to do one. Yeah.
You will when you try to do one, okay? Yeah,
But
I
for
know.
now,
That's all right. Steve, Jay?
I can't say I have questions right now. I say I have to meet my performers actually.
Right.
See, it all makes sense now.
Good. So where was your question?
It was, back when setting up, your loop.
Okay.
One of the things that I was looking at, it asked for the street address, street name, unit number, all that other stuff. I'm assuming that right there, that part is for the agent, because down below that, it's asking for the property address.
Right.
You have to have, I mean, they want your home address and all.
For the property. So let's go into sample and see where we're talking about. All right, so if we go into edit details, is that what you're talking about?
I believe so, yeah.
All right. So in edit details, this first section you don't need to fill out. It's the next section that actually says,
See, yeah, yours looks a little different.
property address. So they're wanting the property address that you just put the loop name for. And the only thing you're doing is you're swapping the numbers to be first because they're asking for a street number. And then it will populate it to your documentation with the number first and the address, the street second. So this property address area is, you're going to fill out. For the property you're writing it off, or that you're listing or writing an offer for. You're still frowning. Ask the question. Are you in the same place as me?
Yeah, I was. I just came out of it because I'm trying to get, I'm going back to that, you know what, I think I know what I did. No, that's not it.
So we're going back to the loop. So this is the loop, sample 1, 2, 3.
Okay, I'm gonna just have to show you.
Okay.
Okay, what I was planning on doing was creating, it's like that was the sample you and I did the other day, but this one here, I was creating this one because I was gonna make templates.
Right.
So I go in here and I go and this is what it looked like because I hadn't downloaded any documents or anything yet. Go to edit details. I go in here, it's asking for, of course, this is where you said property address, so I don't know about that.
Okay, you
But
did it
I
in the
had-
wrong place. Let's go back here for a second. You go ahead.
Oh,
Go all the way back to where we were.
this one?
Yeah, because you gotta go in here to set up a template.
Really?
Yes, click on that. And take it to a completely different place so that you can call the folder whatever you want to call it, Jay's Templates.
Mm-hmm.
So click on that. Okay, create the folder. So now that folder is over here. So you can actually now choose, add documents to your folder. Go ahead and click it again. From templates. Yeah. And then you're going to pick, for your listing package, you're going to click that. And select all, add documents. Okay, now those are all in your templates. So now you're going to go into each one of those and fill them out so that they're there. And then once you're done and you save them, they're all going to be in here.
Okay, so I should create one for templates
For
for,
purchase and one for listing.
okay. Can I rename this folder?
You can. Probably just click on it.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. Okay, unless we've got questions, we're done. That's a wrap.
Okay, thank you.
You bet.
Thank you.
Thank you.